Since I recently reviewed Planet X3 for MS-DOS machines, I thought I would make a series where I look into new games written for old systems. So this game comes from 2015 originally, but it just was released this year, 2018. The creator of this game is someone by the name of Tony Svenstrom, along with a team including Trickster, who I believe is the same Jim Leonard who worked on Planet X3 and came up with this new game called MagiDuck. Now, MagiDuck has been in beta for a long time. It originally came out in 2015, but version 1.0 just was released in April of 2018. It requires 256 kilobytes of RAM, MS-DOS 3.0 or higher, CGA graphics or better, and only 120 kilobytes of disk space. It's crumbelievable.
The crumbelievable.
I mean, unbelievable. Now I know what you're thinking. CGA graphics are ugly. They're terrible looking. They probably look something like this. 4 ugly colors of cyan, magenta, or black and white, something like that. It just looks terrible. Why would anyone want to use these colors to make a game? It looks like crap. Well, yes, but it's what we had back then. And I know that you have techniques to make it look better using composite output, like they did in Planet X3, but rarely did anyone ever use this back in the day. So how can MagiDuck look so amazing? Well, it uses a simple trick, namely text mode. Now, most text mode games of the 80s looked kind of garbage. They either were like Craws, where they just used a character to wander around the screen and do things, which was fine, it worked for what it was, or they were text adventures, which didn't have any pictures and just had text. But you could at least use 16 colors at once. MagiDuck allows you to use 16 colors at once and still have pictures. Now you may be familiar with the 160 by 100 16 color mode used in games like Paku Paku, where they used a modified text mode, but were able to show many pictures on the screen at once. This is not what MagiDuck did. No, this uses 80 column text modes to make pictures. Kind of like this. Now I'm going to use GW Basic, which was the standard at the time for using Basic in MS-DOS computers. And basically I'm going to plot a big text square wherever I want a pixel. So I'm going to do that with different colors, and it's going to draw Mario. So if we were to use graphics mode, we can do this too as well and use the same bitmap basically, but instead of using text squares, we're going to use pixels, and then we get this. It's much higher resolution, but you get the 4 ugly colors. So now basically we're getting 80 by 25 resolution because these giant text pixels. However, if we use a half-height character instead and define both the foreground and the background colors as different colors, then we are able to draw basically 80 by 50 resolution, which is a lot better than 80 by 25, but it's still pretty low resolution, but it can look pretty good. Now, if you're curious about how to do this, just hold down Alt and then type 220 on the numpad, and it will give you the half-height character. Or you can type Alt 219, and that will give you the full-height character. This still works in Windows today. Any way you slice it, there is going to be a trade-off. Either you're going to have a higher resolution and lower colors, or you're going to have lower resolution and more colors. So most games tended to pick the middle road and have 4 colors and have a high resolution, because that was the best way to do graphics back then. But it doesn't really matter. MagiDuck decided to take a different route. Honestly, this game looks pretty fantastic. If I had this game back in the day on our beige computer, on a CGA monitor, playing this colorful game, I would have been amazed. There wasn't a whole lot of platformers back then for IBM PCs, and just the idea of having this one around at the time would have been pretty amazing. Now here, I played this game on my IBM Aptiva, which is a 486, which probably can do a lot better than just your average run-of-the-mill 8088 or 286 or something. But you don't need a 486 to run it. You could run it on any MS-DOS-based computer with CGA graphics or better. Anyway, enough about the graphics modes. Let's go back to the gameplay. This is a side-scrolling, well, not really side-scrolling, it's more a vertical scrolling platformer where you can control a magical duck that can shoot your enemies with magic. There are a total of 10 levels and then a boss battle. After you've beaten the game, there are secret levels you can unlock by getting 100% in some of the levels below. So this is a lot of replayability, even though it's a pretty basic gameplay. You can beat the entire game in about 30 to 45 minutes, but if you want to unlock all the bonuses and get the levels, there you have to take quite a bit more time going back and playing through the levels. That's kind of where the challenge lies. Additionally, at the end, you fight this big owl guy who fights back. And he's pretty tough. But, if you play it enough and die a few times, and you will be dying a few times, then you can beat this game, and it's kind of fun. One thing that kind of disappointed me about this game is that it only has PC speaker sound effects. While this is pretty par for the course at the time, it would have been nice to have some ad-lib music or some MIDI music or something that we could have listened to during the game. Now, it's not absolutely necessary, but it would have been a nice to have. But, I understand if you're just going for a realistic game at the time, the real draw here is the graphics. Overall, I would say this game is pretty great, and it is definitely worth a play. If you do not have an old computer, you can still play this on DOSBox. It's fairly easy. I'll leave you the link in the description how to play this game, and definitely give it a big thumbs up. If you like this video, I plan on making more. Plan on finding some more old games to play and share them with you guys. So like this video, comment down below. If you have any ideas of new games that I could play, comment down below as well. Subscribe to my channel. I'd really like to share more of these videos. Anyway, over and out.